Did you know that we have channel memberships now? If you'd like to help support this channel, get some exclusive Kawabana emotes to use in the comments, as well as an exclusive badge by your name, click that join button now to find out more. Every bit of support really helps. Thanks guys. This week we're looking at an incident that still remains officially unsolved today, although someone was charged for it. The suspect was eventually let off, and the case was never pursued again. But why? What really went down? Let's take a look. As the name of this week's video suggests, this all went down in Nakano, a ward of Tokyo, in 1979. It all began on April 19th, when a two-story wooden apartment building / store caught on fire under the eaves. Only a short while before this, a bucket had also caught fire in the alley between the building and a store on the other side. This bucket, made of polyethylene, caught on fire when somebody threw a match into it, meaning that it was most likely on purpose, although nobody ever saw who did it, nor could prove that it had been deliberately lit. Either way, the fire caused a small fuss before it was put out, and at the time, nothing else was damaged. Police naturally suspected that there might be a link between both fires. Both were started within a short time span, and both either targeted or were close to the same building, referred to as Building A. It seemed likely that someone bore a grudge against whoever lived or worked there. But who and why? After speaking with the owner of Building A's store, a person referred to as C rose to the top of the suspects list. C had worked at the store as a tailor up until just before the fire was lit, leading police to believe that C perhaps held a grudge against the owner over being let go. C also came under suspicion of theft when it was discovered they were pawning stolen goods at a pawn shop in the same neighborhood. This, however, wasn't enough to make an arrest. There was simply no evidence, and an arrest couldn't be made just because C previously worked at the store until right before the fire. It was extremely circumstantial at best. And there was no proof that C was the one who stole the goods that were pawned either. They were, however, now on the police's suspect list, and it wasn't yet over. In 1982, 3 years after the fire in Nakano, C got into an argument with their roommate over some money troubles, and the police were called in. C was then arrested and questioned not just over the thefts, but the 2 arson cases as well. C then finally admitted to all charges, and it seemed that was that. The thefts were sent off to the Nakano Summary Court, while the arsons were sent off to the Tokyo District Court. The police had their culprit. Or so it seemed. Although the 2 separate cases were initially handled by different courts, they were soon merged, and the Tokyo District Court combined all charges into a single case. According to police, C started both fires in Nakano and was responsible for stealing goods that were later sold to the nearby pawn shop as well. C even admitted to all 3 charges during the investigations. Yet in court, C changed their tune. C admitted to the theft charges, but claimed to have nothing to do with the arsons. C's defense put forth that the admissions were not credible because C, who was hard of hearing, was forced to undergo the interrogation without their hearing aid, and they also had to endure the long, painful interrogation without relief because of their spinal caries. Spinal caries, also known as Pott's disease, is tuberculosis of the spine. It causes damage to the spinal discs and can lead to stiffness, pain, and even paralysis. The admission, therefore, was forced because of the great pain C was in, and because they couldn't hear what was being said properly. The prosecution, on the other hand, argued that the admissions were still true because C admitted to lighting a polyethylene bag over a kerosene tank with a match, which matched what police believed to have happened. even if C was without their hearing aid during the investigations, that admission proved that their confession must be true. On April 28, 1983, the court agreed, and C was sentenced to 4 years prison. C's confessions were deemed worthy due to the fact they matched what police believed happened at the scene of the crime. The defense immediately appealed. On November 21st, 1984, the Tokyo High Court surprisingly reversed that decision. C was acquitted of all arson charges. The judge doubted that the method C described in their confession could have actually started the fire that tore through Building A, despite police claims that it was likely what happened. And, because of that doubt, the confessions were unreliable. C was let go. With nothing else to go on, the prosecution dropped the case, and C was officially found not guilty. Despite admitting to the thefts and being the strongest suspect in the arsons even before their admission, C was still found not guilty, and to this day, the case officially remains unsolved. After all, simply being the most likely suspect isn't enough in the eyes of the law to convict, and without any real evidence linking C to the fires, the High Court decided that not guilty was the only reasonable verdict to hand down. But what do you guys think about this one? Was it possible that C truly was the arsonist, but in the end got away with it due to a lack of evidence and series of bumbles committed by the police during the investigation? Or could it have been someone else entirely, and C was just unlucky enough to look like the right person for the job? Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'll see you again next time.